guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kackie. Today is the third installment of my 12 Days of Mindfulness series. So today we are going to be picking up where we left off in the last video. So the last video was all about mindfulness in the sense of what are the benefits, why should you practice mindfulness, and what you can hope to gain from it. We left off at what does that actually look like in practice? My way is by starting my morning off with like a 30-minute me time where I basically walk upstairs into my office and I sit down and I've got my chakra stones, which all of these things are totally optional. I've got my tarot cards and I just give myself kind of a check-in and a tarot card reading, but I use the tarot cards, at least in this sense, to give myself sort of a place to start. Just kind of like a suggestion for where I should kind of concentrate in my meditation that morning. Yes, tarot cards are also used for what's called divination. We'll get into that in the next video, but for this, it's more of an intention setting tool. I will kind of draw the cards in the morning. I usually draw one, and then if I need to, I will clarify with a second, and I just kind of have a question in mind of where I want to start. Like if I am having a little bit of trouble at work, I'll say, I'm having a little trouble at work, like, what should I kind of concentrate on to process that in a healthy way? Or if I am feeling really energized, I'm like, where should I focus my energy today? Just really open-ended questions like that that aren't yes or no, where I actually know that whatever comes, it's just going to give me kind of a positive starting point. That said, although there are not bad tarot cards per se, there are kind of like bummer cards, and like sometimes I will get a card that just isn't vibing with me that day, and at the end of the day, it's a deck of cards. It is not God speaking to you or, someone passing down some kind of judgment, so you can put the card back and draw a new card. Like, it's not some kind of final thing. Then I will write my reading down. I will actually journal it. I have this journal that I keep, and it essentially is pretty much all of my thoughts, all of my like manifestas. It's got my manifestations, it's got my gratitude, it's got all of my tarot readings and sort of the way that I interpret them so that I can read over them the next day or later down the line, so that it's not just a momentary thing that is like, cool right then and there, but like you don't really take it with you. I really appreciate just sort of like being able to look back over them, because there are, 78 cards in that deck? Like, I am not going to remember what I drew the day before. So I think it's really beneficial to use that as a starting point and kind of journal for myself. A lot of times people like to just say that crystals are pretty and they kind of try and like maybe write them off as sort of woo-woo, but I find that crystals, especially chakra crystals, are a really great way to kind of remind yourself what you are concentrating on that day. So whatever intention you set, each chakra stone has kind of a meaning. It'll be like, your root chakra or your third eye chakra or your heart chakra, and each one has just a certain meaning about life, has to do with either abundance or staying grounded or trying to be more intuitive or speaking from the heart or keeping an open heart going into a situation when you feel like you want to shut down, and they all just have kind of a nice beneficial meaning behind them that can serve as a really nice reminder if you either use them in your meditation or even just like stick one in your pocket to carry with you for the day. I will do things like that. I don't think that it necessarily has to be imbued with kind of like a spiritual energy. I do use it for that, but it can also just serve as a really good kind of like mental device to keep you centered. The other thing that people say about crystals is that, they are kind of a high vibration thing, and the way nature works is that our cells sort of adapt to the highest vibration kind of near us, and so that's what they say that like the body is doing, is because crystals are so kind of like perfect from a natural standpoint that, we will kind of assimilate our cells' vibrations to the vibration of the crystal. That's the bottom line kind of selling point of crystals. But if I haven't said it enough already, that doesn't have to be the reason that you're using them. It's all about intention. I will always say that. It's all about intention, and that's how I use them. I just kind of keep them as a really great reminder of what it is that I am trying to grow with that day. What my intention was that I set that morning. So I touched on a few of those that are all kind of part of my practice, but I'm going to break them down now. So as far as a practice that you can do to make sure that you're giving yourself a certain amount of time every day. There are tons and tons and tons of ways, and it is as different as the individual as to how you choose to do that. I just wanted to give you an example of kind of my practice that I do in the morning that centers me, but just a few other ways are yoga. Yoga practice is basically designed to get you in line mentally. The physical part of it is kind of a really great beneficial accessory to it, but it's really only one part of a very long set of tenets for the path to enlightenment. So, I mean, we are doing yoga. Yoga is basically part of this whole other thing that could turn you into a Buddha, ostensibly, if you were choosing to make it your life's work. But essentially, it was originally designed in order for you to be able to kind of cleanse your mind and take a break from the rest of everyday life and concentrate on yourself. So it really does do that. And I will always say this, but every yoga practice is only as good as you want to make it. I think that anybody can go through the motions of yoga and just treat it like exercise, and that's totally fine, but you can treat it like a meditation if you really want to. And then there's, of course, tons of different kinds of meditation. There's transcendental meditation, there's, where you actually chant, things like that, and there's just kind of the normal, like, sit there and just kind of clear your head meditation, which is actually a lot harder than it sounds. And there are also a lot of different takes on that, a lot of ways to kind of access that part of your brain. I can talk later about some books that I've been reading. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments below if you guys would like to know any of kind of my own personal journey books that I've really enjoyed. We can do a video on that, or if you guys have any cool ones, leave those as a comment below too. I'm always looking for new stuff. And basically, meditation is its own giant universe, and I can by no means sum it up. It is an amazing, amazing tool to separate yourself from sort of the just chaos and nonsense of the world and really, claim your own brain. But that is like the tip of the iceberg. So I encourage you to do research on your own if that's something that you're interested in. I will tell you that it's extremely beneficial. The results are awesome. Another part of your daily practice could be or could include divination. And divination is, by definition, sort of future telling, and it is sort of supposed to be contacting the universe or contacting the God or whatever it is you believe in, and sort of trying to gain a better understanding of what's going on around you and what to expect. I know that that sounds nuts, but I will get into manifestation in a second. I think that we create our own realities by our thoughts and actions, and so it's not that far-fetched to think that meditating on something that you really, really want to do, or you really want to have, or your intentions can bring about change in your life. It's not designed to be magic. It's just designed to be overall goal setting. It's actually very practical when you think about it, but there are a lot of ways that it gets written off. And that, I think, has a lot to do with kind of astrology and how people think that astrology is just kind of like goofy, and that's because it's mostly treated that way in like magazines and newspapers. But I do encourage you to do some research on your star chart. That's a tongue twister. And perhaps you will find that, some of it kind of appeals to you. I think that also the tarot is super, super useful however you want to use it. I think that it is also a deep and wide subject that also has to do with the deck that you choose. And I have the Wild Unknown deck, which also comes with a book, so you can actually kind of learn as you go, which is really awesome. So it doesn't have to be this really insurmountable, just like giant bounty of knowledge that you need to learn. But I do encourage you to kind of like do some research on if that's something that you're interested in, on different forms of divination, because they can just be really good tools for kind of getting centered in your brain. They don't have to be about contacting the spirits, All right, another kind of tool and things that sort of like dovetail into your daily practice is the act of manifestation. So manifestation by definition, and we can do an entire video on this, but manifestation is about setting goals and then kind of asking the universe for help in order to achieve them. But the whole idea is that because of the energy that you put out in the universe and the energy that you kind of attract in the universe, you can attract better things, the things that you want, whether it be something, tangible or intangible. But the main idea behind manifestation is that if you can kind of rise to a mental place where you are willing to receive something, and you are ready, then it will come to you. And if you think back on other times in your life, it kind of makes sense that that would be the case. You know, things tend to kind of like come to you and work out when they need to. And if you try and force something, it doesn't really work that well. And that's just basically manifestation at work. Again, tip of the iceberg. I'm going to do a whole video on that next, so stay tuned for the next video. It's going to be all about manifestation. And finally, and I think that this is super, super valuable no matter kind of what you choose as your daily practice and, you know, what parts you want to include and exclude, I think journaling is super, super important because I'm not going to remember what I did. I'm not going to remember the cards that I drew or the thoughts that I had or what it was I was concentrating on yesterday, and I think it's super valuable to keep a very private journal of the way that your practice applied practically to your life. And for me, a lot of times that'll be like kind of the idea that I came into it with, and then the intentions that I decided to set, and then the way that that actually translates into my actions and how I want to kind of drive a new neural pathway for myself. I want to say, like, this is how I'm going to make sure that I steer my actions in the direction that I'm going to accomplish a better version of myself today. And if you think about that, like, I know it sounds really too good to be true, but the way that we become a better version of ourselves is with a million little steps. It is not by these grand gestures. Like, it's very great to kind of like have breakthroughs and to go to, you know, seminars and workshops and just come out of them feeling glowing and like you're gonna just take that with you for the rest of your life. But the way that you actually make long-term change is by changing your habits. And so if you can include a part of your day that is a bunch of habits that make you grow as a human being, you're going to be more prepared for life. You're going to feel like you kind of have a head start on your day, and you're going to, over the years, actually grow into the person that you want to become. And I just really can't put a finer point on it than that. So if you guys got anything out of this, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and give this video a like. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys want to see from this series so that I don't leave anybody out. And if you have not subscribed already, guys, please go ahead and hit that button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you did, and I hope that you guys are having a really awesome week so far. And I will see you in the next installment of this series.